so I'll get started and then take questions. Yeah, really good defense. The Saints, I mean, you see how they're, won 4 in a row. They're 5-2 in their last 7. They're well coached. They have quality players throughout the defense, and a couple guys my age who are playing at the same level they've played at for a long time. Felt like it was a hard-fought game the last time we played them, and expecting the same thing this time around. But a really top defense in this league that we got to, be able to play our best football against. So that's the thought going into this one, and take any questions you have.
Yeah, I guess those 2 elder statesmen would be DeMario and Cam Jordan.
Yep. I've played against them, a fair amount. And you wonder when you play a guy who's getting older if their game is changing. And I felt after the last time we played them, it hasn't. It's guys have both had great years, and they're still the same players they were, many years ago. And so you're aware of that as you go into this one.
And Chase Young, I guess he had a sack strip touchdown last week.
Yeah, it was quite a play.
Got the numbers right up there with Jordan this year.
Yeah, he has great get off. I think he had a sack last time we played him, and he's strong. He's fast. He's he's a top pick for a reason, and he's playing at a high level. So anytime, like last week when we played the Rams, they had great edge players, and when you have great edge players, it's something you got to be aware of the whole game long, the whole week long, really.
You and Nate Lynn talking some smack?
We didn't go back and forth too much at all, really. After the game, took the time to say hello and connect for a second. And you're aware, of his ability to identify things and try to discern what's going on before it happens. So felt like he was trying to do that. Sometimes he was right, sometimes he wasn't, but he just does a great job. You could tell kind of quarterbacking their defense as a good middle linebacker does.
Speaking of middle linebackers, Caden Ellis is a guy that we haven't talked with you an awful lot about the last couple of years, but just been so important to the defense the last couple of years, and does so many things so well. When you're at practice, I know maybe you don't go up against him all the time, but what have you seen from him, and what do you like about him?
I mean, he's a real deal. Played against him when he was with the Saints, and didn't quite understand how great of a football player he is, and began to see it coming here in practice every day. What he can do rushing the passer, which is very unique for an inside linebacker to do, and how he can play, really heavy hands, really strong. He's a tough matchup for a running back. And then how he can still, see it well, make the calls, get people lined up, get himself into the right spots, and then he can play the pass game. He ran with the tight end or receiver in this pass game. Was able to run with him down the field, and real smart play there by Caden. He plays discipline. Not a lot of penalties come from him. So you just start to say, boy, he's checking a lot of boxes here as a football player, and he stayed healthy. I noticed he had some marks on him before the season in the locker room, and I asked him about his body work and what he was doing, and as he explained it to me, I felt like it was something I needed to do, so I started seeing his guy, and that's why you see the marks on the neck. That's because I've been going to Caden's guy who does some really good tissue work, so I have Caden to thank, too, for me feeling really good here week 18, so I'll always, remember Caden for that reason too, because I think he's made a big difference for my body and being able to feel really good this season. So grateful for that as well. But really smart pickup by our personnel department when they signed him a few years back.
Is that chiropractic or is that more?
More tissue work. Yep. We don't have a great word for it, so we just call it that work.
Okay.
I want to get that work.
Fair enough.
And that's what our guy calls it. So he's from Louisiana, and he calls it that work. But that work's been good for me. It's been good for Caden. It's kept us out there, and I get it every Monday or Tuesday, depending on when we play. I get that work, and it's been good.
From Louisiana, is he a Saints guy?
He has worked with some Saints players. He works with a lot of guys around the league. He travels, does a great job, but he comes to us. And Caden's been seeing him, going back this time in New Orleans. Caden takes care of his body. He's really disciplined about it, total pro, and I'm always trying to ask questions and learn. And you'd think, year 14, I've got all the answers. But Caden, when he explained to me what he does, I said, I've never encountered that, but want to try it. It's been really good for me.
I want to ask you about, you were talking on Monday night about Bijan and just the workload, right? And he's being asked to do so much.
Yeah.
Have you seen that in your career where, you have a guy who's a Lamborghini, but maybe he got, run into the ground a little bit?
I think it happens. It happens to running backs, period. You see that just objectively as they get older, which is why, you do want to take such good care of your body, and that's what Bijan does. He's one of the last guys out of the locker room at the stadium after a game trying to, check all those boxes. But, some guys too genetically just have an ability to recover faster. I think that's a Jake Matthews trait where he just sometimes the genes are just better. He recovers well, and it's a gift he has. So you want to have that trait, and then at the end of the day, whether you have 12 carries or 22 carries, the 12 carries can still be pretty violent, where the workload can still be there regardless. But the ball's going to be in Bijan's hands, pass game, run game for a long time here as a Falcon, and he has to stay disciplined, taking care of himself, and I think a lot to look forward to as a fan base, watching him, carry the ball.
What commitment y'all made to each other just to finish the season strong? What would it mean to just go out with a strong performance?
Yeah, well, I think finishing strong is important. It does change, your feelings as you have your exit meetings the following day, as you kind of head into your off season. A win any time in the year is a different emotional lift, and the last one of the year is the same way, and so. The Saints want the same thing, and so they're going to play hard. We're going to play hard, and we want to send our fans out with a great feeling as they leave the Benz on Sunday, and as they look forward to 26.
What kind of strong performance do to carry over to next year?
Yeah, I think you build on everything that's positive, and so a win would add to that. But I think whether it's start with a Bijan type player, but you can look at several others and say there's a lot to build on, a lot of excitement going forward, and every opportunity you have, you want to go out and give your fan base reason to get excited about what's coming down the line.
What did you see from Drake? Just since he's been back, you have now 2 games with him.
Yeah, we only had 20 pass attempts, and a few of them were throwaways, even where we weren't even able to really get it out. So. It was just a smaller sample size in the pass game overall, I think, on Monday night. But it kind of prevented us from being able to really get him going. In the games where you have 45 attempts, you just get those chances to get a guy going. But, I thought he did a great job, fighting to get back for Arizona and then coming back against the Rams. And, and that's a question of, can we kind of get him going more in this last game here, because we know what he's done, before getting hurt, and the player that he is and the player that he will be, and so just want to, be able to kind of head in that direction here in the last week.
And it seems like third down offense. I mean, it was a big problem at one point in the season. It seems like it's kind of turned a corner.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think you kind of learn your team maybe better as the year goes on as to what you're doing well, what to lean into. Honestly, as I look at it, there's been so many 3rd and 1s and 2s that if we had just converted those, you could have really helped yourself. It's look back at some of the 3rd and shorters that you wish you could have been able to connect on or convert. But I would agree that we've had some critical ones the last 2 weeks, and to play winning football, it just feels like in this league you have to find a way to convert 3rd downs throughout the game to give yourself a chance at the end. Okay, you guys have a lot to look forward to tonight with that Kringle.
I'm a little bit concerned. It says perishable, serve or freeze.
So we're putting our faith that was shipped from Wisconsin quickly.
Right.
Okay? Everybody's got to live with a little bit of faith, and that's your faith today. Yeah, no, you open it, you're just fine. But if you can't do it tonight, you put that thing in the freezer.
Yeah.
Only 180 calories it looks like in here.
Serving size? Serving size? Yeah. Yeah, 1/16 of a Kringle probably.
This is 1 pound, 6 ounce.
Of Kringle.
2 3/4 of a slice is 180 calories. All right, so that's what I'm gonna limit myself to.
The Racine Danish Kringle. There it is.